Welcome back to the F124 driver career. Time for round 2 of the championship here at Ferrari, where we hope to actually complete the race this time. Things didn't go as planned for us in Bahrain. A gearbox failure saw us drop out of the running. This Ferrari car is a midfield car at best at the moment. We're in the process of trying to upgrade it as quick as we bloody can, but our former team, Haas, actually technically on paper faster than Ferrari right now, so it's going to be an intriguing start to our time here at Ferrari and a longer road to glory style recovery for them than actually we anticipated that it would be. But we got a decent result in Saudi Arabia last year. We managed to get a top 10 points finish here. Obviously the DNF last time out doesn't help for us, but fingers crossed we can get our first points on the board today. I'd very much like to get more points this season in a Ferrari than we did last year in a Haas, but time will tell as to whether that is the case or not. Jeddah, a circuit that is a Marmite circuit. You either love it or you hate it. We've actually just had the game patched in real life. As I see this, as I record this, as you see this, the patch will have been live three or 4 days or so. So this is the first patch, or the first race post-patch, where supposedly the AI DRS trains have been altered. I won't say fixed, because I haven't played it yet, but altered to make them slightly more realistic. They tweaked the ERS earlier in the year, and that seemed to help with the just one long DRS train. Now they've actually actively tried to affect the DRS trains, so we'll see if it works, shall we? Jeddah up for today's race. Drop the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, come and join me on stream so you can see every single lap live as it happens, and head on over to SRC if you'd like yourself some setups. Right, to Jeddah! Resource points accrued, only 300 of them because the correct or the needed specialist isn't at this Grand Prix weekend, so still the hunt for resource points and for Ferrari car improvements goes on. We are up at 105 difficulty again, and for the second round in a row, we are significantly struggling for rear stability. This car is continually an absolute monster when it comes to any sort of upgrades whatsoever on the rear. There's just nothing there at all. Charles is concentrating his resource points on the durability department, which to be fair, does also very much need some help. But my preference at the minute is very much to get the aero package of the car significantly better than it currently is. We are still the 8th fastest or 8th best aero package, whilst having the 2nd best chassis and a strong powertrain as well. So the aero is significantly holding this car back at the minute. So the early parts of this season are probably going to be a bit of a grind. This is going to be more return to glory, road to glory-esque in the Ferrari than we really hoped that it would be. We were hoping to make the jump to Ferrari and immediately be fighting for podiums. Not going to happen, at least for me. Charles, in the hands of the AI, is able to maximise the package because he's a super highly rated driver in-game. I am not. And this car is not fun to drive, not easy to drive at the moment, but with the right upgrades at the right time throughout the course of the season, we will get where we want to be. But it is going to be a grind, but unless we're in a scenario like we were in Bahrain, like we were in Brazil last year, where the AI are silly fast compared to me in the Ferrari, then, I wanted to change my... It's not going to be an issue at this stage of the season, but I would have liked to have changed my parts before I went to qualifying. That's me waffling and not concentrating. So we will stay at 105 unless we're not going to get any content from the pace that is in the car at the moment, in which case we'll drop it to 103 like we did for the last round and we did for Brazil. But it's my intent to power on at 105. At the minute, we're going to power on through qualifying. Okay, after one run, P10, a tenth or two behind my teammate. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not even a tenth or two. Half a tenth. There is half a tenth between myself and Charles after one run. Okay, that's good. I think everyone else is going out now for another run. I'm probably going to have to sacrifice all my soft tyres here, but don't really anticipate needing the softs in the race. So we will gladly do so to try and make it to Q3 if we can. How much have I got in hand here? We've not got much to make the decision. 28.9, effectively, a tenth. I'm going again.
Right on the cusp now, we've been pushed down to P11.
Well, Charles is P15 after 2 runs. So at the minute, it is either myself or my teammate that are going to make it into the next session of qualifying. One of us is going to knock out the other, and I'm not going to make enough of an improvement here, I don't think. It's P15 for my teammate and P16 for me. Charles not able to extract what he needs out of the Ferrari to finish anything other than 15th. Myself 16th. I did have a couple of tenths in hand as we entered the 3rd sector, but ultimately I lost a little bit in that 3rd sector and was not able to make myself fast enough to get through to the next session. So we will start 16th. I'll be very intrigued to know if Charles actually improves from there, or whether that's all he's got to give in this car as well. No shock exits at this stage, other than perhaps myself in the Ferrari, but it seems to be about where the car is with the aero package on it at the moment. I'm not going to change the difficulty. I'm happy at 105 with it where it is at the minute. We can use our battery as best we can in the race to make ourselves a bit more competitive, and hopefully strategy as well. This is where this Ferrari car is, we believe, though. Charles will now probably go and qualify in the top 5, but this is where we are. As a driver, we're not as good as Charles. The car is barely upgraded on the aero side at all from the beginning of Season 1. Genuinely. So it's not in a good spot whatsoever, this Ferrari car. Was it 4 upgrades of a potential 24? We were significantly more upgraded on the aero side with Haas. Significantly more upgraded. I can't quite believe they are where they are, Ferrari, but this is the scenario we find ourselves in. It's the scenario we have to deal with, and the grind begins to make the car better. Right.
It's time to see how
I'm kind of anxious here to see where Charles ended up. Not on the front row, at least. Max pole, Fernando second. Max won the first round of the championship, of course, as well as winning the entire championship last season. Hamilton, Stroll. Leclerc P7 only. Okay. Whilst he's still significantly faster than me, as you would expect Charles Leclerc to be, he's not right at the sharp end. I'll be 16th, and we will do our best from there with strategy and with race pace. What's everyone else doing with their tyres? Everyone on mediums, apart from Alexander Albon on softs. Albon the only one on the soft tyre. And it seems that my tyre wear is actually quite bad. As a result, they want me to go a lap longer on my middle stint. My personalised strategy says that a 2-stop is faster than a 1-stop, but I would imagine everyone else is on a 1-stop. I do have an extra set of soft tyres to utilise, so I may well have to utilise them. We shall see how the tyres are around about lap 18. If we think we can get them to 23 and do a 1-stop, and it will work strategically with everyone else in the race, then I will. Otherwise, at the moment, it's telling me that a two-stop is quicker, and a two-stop is probably what I would prefer to do, to have fresher tyres and hopefully make less mistakes. I.e., the back won't step on me as much if my tyres are fresher, but we'll see what happens. 2.5 laps worth of extra fuel for the car. It's Ferrari against the world right now, and in that Ferrari is me. Right, inside line for turn 1. Albon on softs is going to be intriguing next to us. Good first. Oh my god, the launch. It seems almost every round, there's one car behind me that gets an electric launch. This time it's the Sauber. I'm hanging it around the outside here for fear of getting pushed into a wall. Dropped to 18th. Ocon got a monstrous go off the line. There's going to be plenty of risks of damage in this Grand Prix. As we say, this is going to be our first round. They're side by side through the first sector. That is not great. Already the top 13 getting a bit of a jump. Plenty of risk to damage at a track like this. And with this being the first round of the entire game being played without any knowledge of how the AI are going to behave with regards to DRS strains, they presumably are going to, in general, just behave entirely different to what we've been used to. So this is going to be very intriguing indeed. No DRS till lap 2, of course. Lost a couple of positions, but Ricciardo's used almost all of his battery there to try and keep up. Whereas we've still got 90-odd% in hand, so I think our battery is going to be not our saving grace, but certainly a strong weapon in our armoury in this particular round of the championship. Ocon and Zhou now going side by side here. A number of drivers going side by side here. It's going to be a really tough round of the championship, but we're aiming to move forward. Oof, understeer. How about some oversteer? The race strategy practice program showed that we actually had 10% worse wear than anticipated here, which is actually better than previous years on Jeddah with the practice program. I think last year on F1 23 it said I had 25% worse tyre wear, which is absurd. But it's something we're going to manage throughout the course of the race. It's something that is probably going to force us into that two-stop. Hopefully we can make it work to our advantage with fresher tyres on 2 occasions and get ourselves some points today. Forgot to put bloody DRS on there, and now I'm going to get overtaken as a result of it. Got the inside on Yuki though. I trust the brakes on this Ferrari. It's the one thing I do trust on this Ferrari is the brake pedal. Mainly probably because I'm running extra aero because their aero package is so poor, but either way I can definitely go deeper on the brakes than other drivers. And I'm going to try and utilise that here and get around Daniel Ricciardo if I can. I'll leave him some space on the inside. But we're up past the RB and now onto the back of the bright green Saubers. I've got a bit of a run on Ocon here. The TRS is coming. So Guanyu's going to be vulnerable as well. I'm going to have to leave Ocon space. I'm not going to. Would have been foolish to try and throw it up the inside there. Oh, but the back end just doesn't want to stick for me. Now we'll have DRS on Zhou Guanyu, but I'm not sure we're going to have the time to close the gap. Ocon's going for it. I'm saving my battery a little bit. Oh, Jesus Christ, Daniel! Do you mind, pal? Daniel Ricciardo is being very aggressive here. He quite literally barged me out of the way. Thankfully, I think we've gotten away without damage there, but that could have ruined our entire race. We've got the inside of you at turn 1 again, Daniel. Excuse me, sir. You were rude to me. I'm going to be rude straight back. Unbelievable from Daniel Ricciardo into the final corner then. Thing is, it's the nature of the circuit, really. It's probably not the best of tracks to try and judge the new AI behaviour with the patch, to be honest. Because there is going to be a lot of DRS trains at this circuit in real life, let alone in the game as well. But that is a lovely move around the outside of Zhou Guanyu. And a purple third sector to boot. And now everyone is getting bunched up here because They're just not quite getting the moves done quickly enough into these tight and twisties. So it is, unfortunately, I think, not going to be a great example of how the new
Okay, this is good. You're catching
AI
the
are going to behave, but where are you going? We feel that that's probably track specific, and live chat agree. So the next round of the championship will be more of an example of how the AI now differ to how they did previously and how the DRS trains will disperse. They are at the front of the field, but everyone's still very much bunched up through the majority of the rest of the pack. Hulk and Alonso going side by side here. It's given me the run on Ocon. We're all getting the run on Alonso. I'm going to have to give Ocon space here. And then Hulkenberg is going to have to give me space, and that is a great overtake. That was as risky as I would have liked to have gotten. That is the very limit of riskiness, so to speak. I was in real danger there of getting thumped into a wall. There's probably been a quick cut there whilst I briefly paused, but we are about to take Alonso in the same segment of track. I'm going to have to get aggressive on him. We're going to have to get elbows out in this entire race, but actually you'll notice that in many areas, even though, as again has been rightly pointed out by live chat, even though the DRS trains are forming, when they break apart, they are breaking apart again. It just so happen to be reforming quite regularly because of the nature of the circuit. So there's a yellow flag in front, there's a yellow flag behind. There is a lot of smoke there, and that smoke is coming from a Sauber, I want to say. No, an Alpine. That is going to be Nico Hulkenberg in his Alpine, retiring from the Grand Prix. No VSC or safety car as a result, though, because he can quite comfortably just pull over to the side of the racetrack to a marshal's post. Now then, we've got a gap to try and close. It's only Albon and Gasly in front as a duo now, and again, you'll notice that those DRS gaps have opened up in some of the circuit. It's only where cars get really, really feisty in battle that there's a DRS train, and it's really opened up again. So actually, even though the circuit suits DRS trains, it still seems to be opening back up again. What I'm actually now hoping is that they start to fight and that it all comes back into a bit of a train again, because it will bring cars in front towards me. Very nearly got an outer DRS range of Fernando Alonso here. Still thinking that the two-stop is probably the way forward. Although, whether we're still in DRS of a car in front at lap 18 might decide whether we decide to dip to a two-stop or change and go to a one-stop and go on to lap 23. The tyre wear will also play a factor in that. Alex Albon in front is on the soft tyre. Hoi! So you imagine that he too is also on a two-stop, I will ask. Those soft tyres aren't going to last more than 13 or so laps, so I have a funny feeling that Albon is going to go soft, medium, medium. No, he's going to go soft, hard. Even though Albon is on the soft compared to everyone else on the mediums, he is also one-stopping. So the Williams must just be really kind on its tyres. We have broken DRS to Fernando Alonso behind. I reiterate that we are also on 105 difficulty again. So even though the qualifying pace hasn't been there in the car, we've been able to manage the race pace and recover quite well so far. How that turns out at the end of the race, I'm not so sure. But 16th, down to 18th, back up to 13th, and hopefully closing on some more cars in front. Well, that's good news. Oscar Piastri with an issue. Not sure whether he's the first McLaren or the second McLaren. Third or ninth, I think. But a McLaren is going to be going slowly. We'll soon find out which one it is, and it looks like it might well be that second McLaren, because already a bit of a gap is opening up. Obviously with DRS at this part of the track, it's probably going to be able to maintain the gap, but at some point that gap will open up and he'll fall off the back. Yeah, it does look like it's going to be Piastri that is going to be quite slow in a straight line, unfortunately for him. side by side again in front into turn 1. We're on lap 12 of 50 now. So we're nearly a quarter race distance. Still think actually I'm going to extend and do the one stop. And then if there is a safety car at any point, we do have another set of medium tyres to go to. Because we'll switch to the hards next. I think matching everyone else is probably going to be my best bet of closing gaps and gaining points. Closing on some of the others. I think what it is, because I'm running slightly more downforce, as the tyres are getting more and more worn, they're starting to slide a bit more. Whereas because I've got a bit more downforce on the car, because the car isn't very good as a package, I'm actually able to get the power down slightly better, and through the fast sweeping turns, we have a bit more traction and a bit more mechanical grip. So even though we're slower in a straight line, in the scenario now where everyone is on more worn tyres, the performance is coming back to us.
Back by about 0.3 a lap. Well done.
I could try and utilise that to my advantage by running an extra stop and having even fresher tyres for the majority of the race, but I still feel like being in or near someone's DRS for the majority of the race with a one stop is going to be more beneficial in getting me to the end of the Grand Prix as fast as possible than having fresher tyres. Quite clearly tell the lack of competitiveness in that McLaren right now as Oscar Piastri's fallen all the way back down towards us from that train in front. Just slowing Alex Albon right up here. Gasly's not that far down the road at the minute, and we're going to have DRS here. I'm going to let Alex try and take Piastri initially, or I will try and take them both down into the final corner if I can just get a decent run and have enough battery to do so. There goes nothing. I think Albon... Oh, Albon went the wrong way, and then he's gone to go the other way as well. We could get 2 in 1 here. Do we try? We do. Do we succeed? Yes, sir. 2 in 1, up to P11. Sorry, Alex and Oscar. See you later. Correct. The hards where... rephrase. The hards will do...
Great stuff, mate. You hit the target well there. Nice one.
80-something laps.
So keep your head down.
And there are... what? 33 laps to go. Some are already in the box and presumably going to the hard tyre. Lewis is going medium. Lewis Hamilton is 2-stopping. Now that's not what we expected. I'm actually going to sit behind Pierre here and then take him into the final turn and then use my ERS to pull away. That's the plan anyway, until I got a bad exit that last corner. I'm half a second behind. That gap is closing. It's not going to close enough, so I'll get him into turn 1 instead, and hopefully this time we'll get the move done significantly before the braking zone, Mr. Gasly. Any others in the box? Pierre might be coming in. No, he's just going for the shortest possible run. Right. Thank you for making your move early and not now. Literally, as we put the brakes on is when he moved. Couldn't believe it. It is indeed Gasly ahead. They're giving me nine laps to get past, well, 8 laps before lap 29 to try and get past Pierre Gasly. Oscar Piastri, I think, has had his issue fixed because he's significantly closed the gap behind again. So Oscar Piastri is now back in the fight. My rear tyres are starting to complain. So it's not going to be long before we think about boxing. What I might like to do is try and use the DRS to get past Pierre Gasly, and then once we're past Pierre Gasly and no longer have DRS, then we will box. Whenever that might be. This might be now. Around the outside of Pierre Gasly, maybe. Not sure where the DRS detection point is. I think it's just on exit here. It's there, actually. Right, well, let's take Pierre now. I've got the hard tyre set next. I'm going to use all my battery to make sure I get the move done.
The car behind. 1 second. Yes,
Racecraft got
Nice work.
a plus there. Nice little update to the objective graphics. Actually shows the text in green if you're achieving it, if it's a longer term goal that is changing lap by lap. Like use this percentage of DRS, etc. Of ERS, sorry. And also, when you do achieve it, it now shows on the graphic what you get from it. What I got there was a boost to my racecraft. What I'm going to have to do here is go defensive. And on lap 22 of 23, now is probably the time to do a one-lap undercut on everyone else. And you can quite clearly see that Oscar Piastri's car is working again. He is rapidos. So we're going to tell him we're going to box this lap.
Then come into the pits at the end of this lap.
We're going to come out last, I'm pretty sure. 18th, apparently. Okay, 18th of 19. There's been another pitter behind us.
Gap ahead, 1.9 seconds.
So, I imagine Magnussen is also one-stopping. And the gauge of how well the undercut has worked for us, or has not worked for us, as I'm going to have to go defensive here. Why are you just driving into me, Pierre? You're both just driving into me. Sort your lives out. The gauge of whether this undercut is going to work or not is going to be how far behind Kevin Magnussen are we when we come out, when he comes out of the pits. We were 2 seconds behind him as we crossed the line. Hopefully the Ferrari pit boys have got a good stop in them.
Okay, mate, that's
2.5 seconds is about average.
Fantastic stop. Faster
And
than we were expecting.
let's go and try this undercut. And if anything happens, we've got another medium set to go to later in the race. So Leclerc is in the pits. So everyone else is going to start their going to the hard tyre stints now. I think Kevin has continued here because Sainz has boxed before him and gotten preferential treatment, being the further forward car. So we're actually going to get a 2-lap undercut on Kevin Magnussen. Teo Pourchaire, Yuki Tsunoda, the remaining Alpine of Gasly, etc., all in the box here.
Keep taking care of it.
And that 1-lap undercut on Pierre Gasly has earned us about a second. It's not great, but better than now. I used quite a bit of battery to try and defend that, but now I'll get DRS because I'm just behind him. I scraped the wall there, I did indeed. Alonso's going to get boxed in and have nowhere to go, and hopefully we'll be able to make the move. Oh, we're going to be 3 wide into turn 1. I'm going to go late on the brakes, try and outbrake 1 and outbrake 2. Alonso tried to turn into me. There's Kevin Magnussen, so that's how much the undercut gained us. As that was someone subscribing to the YouTube channel. Thank you, Birek. So the undercut gained us about a second on Gasly, and it would have gained us probably the position on Kevin had I not had to go defensive into the final corner and have a bit of a battle. So we're within DRS range to Kevin Magnussen now. Thankfully, no body damage after Fernando decided it would be a wise idea to turn in, even though there's 2 cars on his inside. 2 cars he was very much aware of on his inside. And we are currently running inside the points in P10. I did scrape the wall at some point though, because I've got 13% wear on my front right and only 1% on all the other tyres. The gap from Magnussen to Sainz is 10 seconds at the moment, which is pretty insurmountable, you would imagine. So I believe we're probably fighting for a P9 in this Grand Prix, unless something crazy happens in the final few laps. Carlos Sainz is battling with my teammate Charles Leclerc. Charles started P7, is running P7.
Let's use overtake and burn off some of this energy.
afternoon, Hoggy. How are we, sir? This is the first race we've done, but there are no real proper DRS trains, apart from this one where we've all come out next to each other from the pits. Tucked up right behind Kevin Magnussen now. And with ERS and DRS, in fact, just DRS, because I'll try and use my ERS to defend down the straight. As he's used all of his battery here, I'm going to be cheeky and let him go first so that I get the DRS, and then we'll make the move. Excuse me, Kev. Thank you, Kev. I got the step up to the works team. You are still at the customer team. And you're going to have to suck that up, I'm afraid. You're in a Haas, I'm in a Ferrari. See you later. That said, the Haas car is just as good as a Ferrari car right now, because we are the two Ferrari now, as you can tell top left, in a bit of a Haas sandwich. Haas car is a genuine point-scoring machine, and the Ferrari is basically the same. Hopefully Charles can get the better of Carlos. Hopefully I can get the better of Kevin. And we'll get a double point scoring finish for the team, and hopefully a decent point scoring finish for the team. Charles and Carlos aren't too far behind one of the Mercedes. Oh, yellow flag in front. It's going to be a McLaren or a Red Bull. I think it's the McLaren. I think Lando Norris might be retiring from the race. He is, as Oscar Piastri has an issue of his own that we believe they've now fixed, but he's not able to make his way back through the traffic yet. Lando Norris is going to make a retirement here. So we are going to gain another position. He's DNF'd. We were 10th. We will now be 9th. Thank you, Lando. Cheers, pal. He's just parked up on the left-hand side there, well off the racing line, well out of any danger. Wouldn't have been surprised if in real life there was a VSC there to get rid of that, but it's not real life, it's the game, so no VSC. But P9, Fernando Alonso in P8 is 2.2 seconds down the road, but he has been gaining on all of us here whilst we've been battling. I don't know as I'm going to be able to reel him back in. I'll try, but I think that Aston Martin's probably going to be a little bit too quick. Both the car and the driver, for that matter. I can do that. Kev's just going to take me.
Focus. We need to stay on form.
Cover the inside. Go deep on the brakes. Hold the inside. And then go for Kevin again. What I need to do is get Kevin into turn 1 and then be able to extend a gap before the next DRS zone. But I haven't been able to do that yet. I'm not even going to be able to get past Kevin here, I don't think. I think any chance of catching Fernando Alonso is probably beyond us. We're still fighting for a P9 position, even despite Lando's DNF. I'm sure if Piastri manages to make it past us, he'll disappear off into the distance as well, and it will only be a P10 we're fighting for, but it would be my first points in a Ferrari, so I'm going to fight hard for it. 20 laps to go. Fucking ouches. Piastri's just taking Gasly behind. I want to get Kevin
To your teammate ahead.
so that
With 0
when
seconds.
Piastri eventually makes his way through us all, I can try and cling onto the back of the McLaren. It's unlikely because that McLaren is very, very, very fast when it's properly working, which we believe it is again.
Right, we need to get past here.
But-
Use overtake.
Following Piastri out of this DRS train is probably my only way of shaking Magnussen, Gasly and Alex Albon. A little bit shaky there on the underbraking behind Kevin. Piastri's concentrating on what's behind him though, so I'll concentrate on what's in front of me. What's in front of me and what hopefully won't be for very long is going to be Kevin Magnussen in his Haas. Try a proper cutback this time. Get a decent run on him. There you go. That's much better. That's the best we've done any sort of overtaking move in that scenario. And Lewis Hamilton is making his second pit stop. Lewis, the two-stopper, stops again, and we're up to P8. Lewis is going to have to make his way back through, which he will have the pace to do, but elbows do get thrown around Jeddah, and I am more than willing to throw some. He's actually come out as part of this train, I think. Indeed he has. He's right in the middle of that. I just cannot... Whoever's at the front of it can't shake the rest of it at the minute, unless you're Fernando Alonso or Oscar Piastri or Lewis Hamilton, but they've got to work their way to the front of it first. As Max puts in fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap out front. Okay, so they continue to fight behind. We have dropped them out of DRS range. I didn't fight Oscar there because I want Oscar to drag me away from that group.
Win that place
I
back.
don't mind being P9 right now, provided we can get them out of DRS range behind. Oh, which I don't think we have. I got a poor exit. I've dropped half a second off Piastri, and they are going to have DRS behind. It's so annoying! I thought we just managed to do it. Actually, we might have done, you know. We might have done. I think we have. That could ensure that we get points. I'm quite happy to just follow Oscar now, and I don't care about overtaking him for the next 14 laps. Lewis and Kevin having a bit of a battle behind, as you would expect. Lewis making his way back through, or trying to at least.
Okay, you're within 1 second.
Oscar, take me with you.
To use DRS for the overtake.
Let's drop these losers. Since his pit stop, Max Verstappen has made maybe 8 or 9 fastest laps. He's just absolutely dominating here. You can see the gap he's got. He's coming up towards the top of the mini-map. And second place is coming around turn 1. Long way back. A long way back. And that's just Sergio Perez in P2. Lance Stroll, I think, is currently running 3rd, which is remarkable. You'll notice it no longer says Magnussen 10 behind me. Momentarily, they didn't even say Magnussen 11. It doesn't again. Gasly's got him. Lewis is coming, and I don't think there's much Oscar nor I can do about it. This fight for P8 is going to be a 3-way sooner than I might like it to be, and the gap to Alonso continually grows as well, annoyingly. 12 laps to go, including the one we're on. Jesus Christ, Max sets the fastest lap by about 1/100th of a second every lap at the minute. That was 1:13.951. Last one I saw was 1:13.966. Might have been 1 or 2 laps ago. He is so consistent right now, Max Verstappen out in front. And he is a long way out in front. Have a look at his lap time, see just how consistent they've been. Look at it. 131 from here downwards. 131, 192, 131, 191. A 31 flat, a 31 1, a 31 flat, 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 1 flat. 30.9, 30.9, 30.9. Max Verstappen is soaring right now. Fastest lap of the race? Just as I was going on and on and on and waxing lyrical about Max Verstappen's pace, I then go and set the fastest lap of the race. Thanks to DRS and ERS, certainly. Max doesn't have any DRS and I needed 3 helpings of it to get me the fastest lap, but I'll take it. He'll probably take it off me literally this next lap. But for the time being, on that one last lap, for the first time in this Grand Prix, I was the fastest car on circuit. Literally out of absolutely nowhere. And Max takes it off me. I told you, it didn't last long. There you go. Max Verstappen into the 130.8. He just gets quicker and quicker and quicker.
Back by 1/10 a lap.
No. So they've acknowledged then, by not acknowledging it, that Oscar's issue has been rectified. Caught the wall there. And Lewis is now within DRS range of the two of us. Well, I think not quite by the detection point, thankfully. We're getting to the point now where the tyres for everybody are worn so much that my extra downforce is now a help, not a hindrance. Oscar's going to go defensive. We're just going to follow him around the corner. My main concern at the moment is just keeping Lewis out of DRS range, not overtaking Oscar.
Pace is strong,
but by being faster than Oscar at the minute, at some parts of the circuit, we're going to lose time. And Lewis is just going to hone back in on us. We just lost 2 to 3 tenths through the first couple of corners. And Lewis has arrived with 8 laps to go. Hi Lewis, how are you? Good. Go away. I'm going to go defensive. And then I'm going to go this way. I'm going to try and go all the way around the outside of Oscar Piastri. I've booked very late. I've made the apex. I've turned the corner. I've made the position.
Good job.
We're up to P8. Now, Lewis, if you could just distract Oscar, please, so I can get away a little bit, that'd be lovely. Passing Oscar there was, as Jordan just said in live chat on Twitch, probably race critical. Because if Lewis got past me and Piastri in one fell swoop, then he would have just pieced out and driven away. By getting past Piastri, and now the 3 of us battle as a group, we are having a chance at still potentially finishing P8. I'm going to get double overtaken here. There's not really much I can do about it. Be a good thumbnail opportunity. Oh my god! Yep, good thumbnail opportunity. Jesus wept. They just went for it. Off they go. Lewis is past Oscar, but we will now both have DRS on Lewis. And there might well be another double overtake, or not. Again, they've got defensive late. I might just sit for a bit, see what happens. If I lunge at Oscar, it's only going to allow Lewis to get away. If I get overly aggressive, it will definitely see P8 disappear. So, as has been the case a number of times in our career thus far, we just want to get dragged along by the faster car. So hopefully at some point, attempt an overtake. I wouldn't mind being the middle car of the trio, to be honest, if Lewis is at the front of it. Oscar Piastri sets the fastest lap of the race, chasing Lewis Hamilton in front on lap 49 of 50. As we start our final lap, Max is 2/3 of the way through his. Such is the dominance of Max Verstappen. Sergio Perez in P2 is still half a lap behind Max. He has just, quite frankly, been 2 categories above. We all look like F3 drivers compared to Max Verstappen right now in this save. Lewis disappeared. Piastri's tried his best to stick with him. I just didn't have multiple faultless, mistake-free laps in me at this circuit to be able to cling on to the back of them, unfortunately. And once they were out of DRS range, they were well and truly gone. But that said, I am finishing ahead of Kevin Magnussen and one of the Hasses. Although my teammate is still top 5, and the man in the car that I stepped out of to step into this one is going to finish in 5th in the car that I left. A little bit soul destroying, but by the end of the season, Fernando Alonso takes the fastest lap of the race on the last lap of the race, trying to make an extra position, I think, on the aforementioned Carlos Sainz, and Piastri got Hamilton to the line. Piastri took Lewis Hamilton on the run to the line out of the final corner. Oscar finishes P8, Lewis P9, and on only the second appearance for me in a Ferrari, I not only get driver of the day, but I get my first points of the season as well. I say points, plural. I get my first pointer, singular, of the season so far. But
and with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more
positivity to take from that, we might well have not qualified well at a track that I'm not great at, but we raced very well and only ended up 5 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton and Oscar Piastri. So we can't really complain too much about that. Oscar did have a bit of an issue. Lando did retire. We would have been outside of the points had Lando not retired, but to finish first you must finish, as they say. Or to finish 10th, first you must finish. Finish 10th we have. Racecraft goes up a bit. Awareness, or as in Racecraft goes up a level. Everything goes up a bit. My overall creeps towards 78. My reputation is still firmly locked at 36%. However, I now have a 7% bonus. And previously that was 6. So I'm doing something right. Anyway, I'll take it. I'll very much take it. I think, are we Australia next or China next? Not sure off the top of my head. I think it might be Australia then China. It's got to be Australia then China, because last season we went 19th, 10th, 10th. And last year I won China. So yes, Australian Grand Prix next. I've gotten an accolade. Good. Can I have some more resource points, please? This car needs improving as soon as physically possible. We got rain in Australia last year. Gearbox improves. Will the ICE reliability testing also improve? And now that's failed.
Mate,
all right. Well, Charles can do that one.
Through, but
I'm still firmly concentrating on the aero, which by the end of this practice session at the next Grand Prix, I will be able to afford to put the front downforce on. We won't have it until beyond Japan, but it's on its way. 497 still to put that on, even though it failed. So Charles can do that. Thank you very much. I'm going to concentrate on improving the actual pace of the car, not the reliability of the car. But that's going to have to wait until the next Grand Prix, which, the performance comparison has changed. But what's the weather going to do in Australia? That is my main concern at the moment. We had rain in Australia last year. Don't rain this year. There is some rain this year at the race. But it's only right at the very end. At the very, very, very end. We hope that lasts as long as possible. The sunshine. But we will be probably ending the Grand Prix in Australia in the wet. But I have contributed now at least to Ferrari's P3 in the Constructors' Championship. But quite clearly you can see that Red Bull and Aston Martin are above everybody else. 2 by 2 they lead at the top of the drivers, and they also, in fact, Red Bull 1-2 in both Grand Prix so far this year. Alonso on the podium and Stroll on the podium, so there has been an Aston Martin on the podium at both Grand Prix. Charles 4th and 5th, DNF in 10th for me, but we're still higher than Kevin, so at least there's one thing to concentrate our positivity on. In Australia, I hope to be more competitive than I was in the first 2 Grand Prix. Don't know whether that'll happen or not, but we'll give it a go. And you'll join me for that one, won't you? I'd appreciate it if you did. Do drop this video a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to make sure you don't miss out on more. Come and join me on stream and see every lap of every session. I'll see you next time.